When ESPN and I parted ways, if you will, in 2003, it happened 2 weeks before my wedding. It was an interesting time in my life, to say the least. Got married, went on a honeymoon with Suze. We're in Italy. I'm behind the wheel of a car driving on the A1 freeway, which basically everybody who drives there is insane. I mean, everybody, honestly, you're going 100, whatever, million kilometers an hour, and you look behind you and somebody's right on your rear bumper. My cell phone goes off. My wife answers it. She goes, "Here, you got to take this." And I knew the fact that if she's handing me the phone and I'm not hands-free on that freeway, it's had to be a very important call. And it was an individual from the worldwide leader calling to tell me how disappointed he was to hear the news that I wasn't there anymore. And he's Dick Vitale. And he joins me here on the Rich Eisens Show. Oh, you remember that call, Dick? Do you remember that?
Rich, I do remember the call. I hope I didn't cause you an accident.
No.
You seem to still going strong, man. And how's marriage? You're going to catch me? I got 45 years.
Oh, well, this year I will be 32 years behind you, but I'm on a good path. It's a good.
Well, I know one thing for sure, Rich. I will not be around when you celebrate your 45th.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Dick. But yeah,
I'll be thinking of you, though.
I think of you quite often, Dick. You know, and I think of you obviously this time of year. Of the 16 teams left in it, who do you think's got the best shot here, Dick?
I really think North Carolina. I really do. They were my preseason number one, and I changed a little bit in terms of I thought Kentucky was the one team that could beat them with that great guard play, Euless and Murray, if their big guys had come to play. But the big guys didn't do well against Indiana, so they're on the sideline. So now that they're on the sideline, I am going the route of North Carolina. I love the kid Bryce Johnson. He's a great baseline player. If they get solid play out of Marcus Page, I think they win the whole championship.
So then which team do you feel might put on a glass slipper, even though obviously if you're in the Sweet 16, you've earned it? Who do you think might go ahead, slay a one seed, and cut down the Nets in Houston? What do you think?
Well, you know, there's a number of teams, obviously, that can win. I really believe that. I think North Carolina has an edge, so does Kansas, but they're all beatable clubs. I mean, you look out there, I look at Villanova, they're really threatening like unreal. They made 23 threes in their first two games. But there's a team like a fifth seed. Watch Maryland. The Terps certainly, if I'm Kansas, I'm really concerned. I mean, preseason Maryland was Rich, everybody's choice in the top five in America, and they were a little up and down during the year. But you know and I know what can happen if you really have a great tournament. Everybody forgets about the up and down. And so right now in front of them is Kansas. But if they can go out and beat Kansas, that'll redeem all the other problems that they had maybe during the year. And they have the personnel that can win with Trimble and Lehman. And I know our guy, Mr. Van Pelt, would be on cloud nine.
Yes, he would.
But I'll tell you this, they're capable.
Yeah, and then you've got, Oklahoma sitting there, too, at the 2 seed, and Buddy Hield doing what he did in the second half against VCU. You were there, front row seat with Brent Musburger for that classic game against Kansas earlier this year. Where does Hield rank in terms of the individual performers that you've seen in this tournament years past, Dick?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Rich, he's a special kid. I voted for him, and I will definitely hope that he gets the Player of the Year award. I think he deserves it. You mentioned that game, Brett and I, 152 years between us, and we're acting like 12 years old. I've told people, and I really firmly believe this, that's the best game I've ever been part of in a regular season in my 37 years at ESPN. The emotion, two teams, both very rare, one number one in one poll, number one in the other poll. Here's a kid goes off for 46 points. And you mentioned so well his second half the other day, 27 points in the second half, and they needed them all because VCU is really a good basketball team. But I love Buddy Hield. I think Buddy Hield is special, a great message for a lot of kids out there, too. Buddy Hield was thinking seriously of coming out last year, and he's so lucky he didn't because last year he was looked upon as a second-round choice, and right now he's without a doubt a lottery selection.
Should we make the kids stay at least 2 years, Dick? What do you think of these one-and-dones and the conundrum like Ben Simmons and what he went through this year in LSU?
Rich, I really have a problem with the one and done. I don't blame the kids taking the money. I firmly believe we should have a rule where if a kid wants to go out of high school, a kid like Ben Simmons, he wants to go out of high school, let him go. Let him go. There's only a handful of kids. But once you step on a college campus, I was hoping and praying, and probably never be in my lifetime because the Players Union wouldn't allow it to happen in terms of the NBA, and I think it's ridiculous. But I would love, for example, to see the baseball rule. You go to college, you have to stay 3 years, and then you go on. So many kids are not ready. And let me tell you this, as good as Ben Simmons is, okay, I'm not even convinced right now. I've had him this year. I've watched him. I am not convinced that, in my mind, that he is an automatic number one. I like a lot of things about his game, Rich. He can pass the ball. He can absolutely rebound, but his shot is definitely suspect. And I have a problem when kids can't make shots consistently. And the other problem that really bothers me is you got to win, man. You got to win. You're considered the number one pick in the draft. You got to take your team to the tournament at least. And I had a game against Oklahoma. Last 5 minutes of the game on the line. Buddy Hield's hitting threes. It's a one like they were beating Oklahoma in the last 5 minutes. I firmly believe, I can't remember exactly, but I don't think he took a shot. And I just don't comprehend that. So I would look seriously at my number one pick. I love kids that make shots. He doesn't have the body right now, but I'm telling you, he's got wingspan about 7'4". He can flat out shoot it. Rick Pitino told me he sees a lot of Kevin Durant in him, and he sort of agreed with me. And we're talking Brandon Ingram from out of Duke.
Dick Vitale joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Tom Izzo said that his loss to Michigan State's loss to Middle Tennessee State was the biggest upset in the history of the tournament. He feels that he was on the wrong end of the biggest upset in the history of the tournament. How do you?
I love Tom Izzo, obviously. We all do. He's a Hall of Famer. In my mind, he should get in the Hall of Fame this year. But it was really an incredible loss. There's no doubt about it. I would say, to me, I would sort of agree in my 37 years for this reason. Many of us didn't look at Michigan State as a number 2 seed. We thought after winning the Big Ten, they would have been a number 1 seed. And then on top of that, the way they were playing, many people, including yours truly, we all felt they would win the national championship. And to get beat like they did by a 15 seed, that game was won in the first couple of minutes. You can't spot teams, Rich, when you're the favorite and you spot them 2 touchdowns, and now you're going to come back. Sure, it's early in the game, but what you've done, you've given confidence, you've given energy, you've given enthusiasm. Sounds like I'm giving a motivational talk here, but really, Rich, that's what they did to Middle Tennessee State. Those kids start believing, and then many of us, because I was watching it, so I was on after on ESPN from my home on a post game. But, watching it, when they cut it to 1 late, all of us felt it's over now. Party's done, man. It's done for Middle Tennessee State. But those kids start believing, and every time Michigan State cut the lead, they came back with a big, big basket. And then we saw what happened when they played Syracuse. Syracuse now, not going to be surprised by them, not shocked by them. There's a team keep an eye on. Syracuse. A lot of people didn't think they belonged in the tournament. They were 4-5 without Boeheim. They beat some quality top 50 teams, including the likes of Duke. They won the Bahamas, the Atlantis in the Bahamas tournament, beating Texas A&M. Very, very dangerous team.
I have about a minute plus left with you, Dick. You mentioned North Carolina, and I see them, and and I see what you say about them. I think of Stewart pretty much every day these days, and I'm wondering what, when I was doing Sports Center and you would be throwing in the 11 o'clock or the late Sports Center, you always mentioned me and Stewart. I'm wondering what you think. You know Stewart. You were with him for years. You were with him to the end.
Crush me, crush me. I could crush so many of us. How gallantly he fought. We have a gala, and we certainly recognized him at my gala last year. But my Dick Vitale gala this year, Rich, we're honoring Urban Meyer, we're honoring Robin Roberts, and we're honoring Bo Ryan, because he raised a lot of money in Wisconsin for cancer. And my goal is to raise $2.5 million, and it's all for kids battling cancer. So anybody wants to help me, just go to DickVitaleOnline.com. Mm-hmm. You can help. And I just got a message here on my text. I swear to you, as I'm talking to you, just came through. Chris Fowler and his wife Jen said we will be at your gala this year. Also, it'll probably be the only place under a roof, Jim Harbaugh and Urban Meyer smiling, having dinner together, having a blast. And the reason Jim's coming, we're going to pay tribute to Lloyd Carr, his grandson, who lost his life, Chad. And we're bringing Chad's mother and father to the event. Jim Harbaugh's flying them on a Michigan plane. And then we are one of the first I've told this to, we are going to give a $250,000 research grant in the name of Chad to battle the cancer that he faced.
No, thanks, Dick, and that's great work. And Dick Vitale. Online.com. I miss chatting with you. I hope we get to do it more often, Dick.
I hope so too, buddy. I'd love to have you one day join us too, man.
Always. You can reach out to me. You have. It's the same number you called.
Okay, buddy.
It's the same number you called on my honeymoon, Dick. I haven't changed.
Right.
Take care.
All right, man.
All right.
Rich, great being on with you. I'm so happy to see you doing so well.
Thanks, Dick. That means the world. You too.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.